She suggested an open marriage because she was bored. I agreed. She didn't expect me to be the one who found someone else first. That's the part people get stuck on when I tell this story. They picture me slamming doors or sobbing or giving a big speech about vows. They don't picture me sitting at our kitchen table, stirring cream into my coffee and saying, "Sure, let's open it. But if we're opening doors, let's open all of them." You learn a lot about a person when you give them exactly what they asked for. I'm Mark, 42, software architect in Austin. I lift 3 times a week, trail run on Saturdays, and I can still do 10 pull-ups on a good day. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying it because when my wife called me vanilla and safe, she wasn't talking about how I look. She was talking about how she thought she could do better. Rachel and I met in our late 20s. She was in marketing at a fashion startup, all bright ideas and bright lipstick. I was the guy they'd brought in to stop their website from crashing every time they pushed a new feature without testing it. She thought in campaigns and colors. I thought in systems and edge cases. It worked. We joked that I was the brakes and she was the gas. When it was good, it was really good. We de-burn through Netflix shows in a weekend, take last-minute road trips, try new restaurants. Sex was fun, easy, frequent. We were that annoying couple our friends rolled their eyes at because we actually liked hanging out together. We got married at 32, in a little venue outside town with string lights and a taco truck. In my vows, I promised to always listen, to never stop dating her, to fix anything in the house that broke before she had to ask twice. In hers, she promised to be my adventure partner and not just my roommate, to never stop being curious about us. Turns out curious had a wider definition for her than it did for me. The first few years of marriage were normal. Work, friends, the occasional blow-up about dishes or in-laws. We talked about kids and decided to wait until things settled down, which in startup land is code for probably never. I moved from being a senior engineer to a lead, then to architect. My job got more remote, more abstract. Less code, more diagrams and decisions. Her job got more outward-facing. She hopped to a bigger company, then a bigger title, director of brand engagement. Fancier office, nicer clothes, more travel. We drifted a little, then drifted back. That's what I told myself anyway. The first sign that something had shifted came on a Thursday night, 3 years ago. We were at a rooftop bar with her coworkers, celebrating a campaign they'd just launched. Everyone was tipsy, loud, the kind of confident that only comes from a good quarter and overpriced cocktails. Rachel was mid-story, acting out some ridiculous client request, when her coworker Jess leaned in and said, "I still can't believe you married such a safe guy." Jess was half joking, half not. You learn to hear the ratio. Rachel laughed. "I know," she said, giving me a sideways grin. "He's so vanilla." I raised an eyebrow. "Vanilla's a classic," I said. "Everybody likes vanilla." "Exactly," she said, squeezing my arm. "Reliable, stable, the Wi-Fi of husbands." Everyone laughed. I smiled, but it stuck. On the drive home, I said, "Vanilla, huh?" She was scrolling her phone at a red light. "Oh, come on," she said. "You know I was joking." "Jokes land because they're close to something true," I said. She put her phone down. "You're taking that way too personally," she said. "It was a bit. You are safe. That's a good thing. You're not out here disappearing at 2 a.m. or blowing rent money in Vegas." "Fine with safe," I said. "Less fine with bored." "Who said bored?" she asked. "You," I said, in the same conversation. "I love my safe, vanilla husband, but sometimes I wonder what else is out there." She winced slightly. "You heard that." "Hard not to," I said. "We were at a table for 6. She sighed. "I was drunk," she said, "and just got out of a thing with this insane musician. We were talking about extremes. You know I love our life." "I know you say that," I said quietly. She reached over and took my hand. "Hey," she said, I picked you on purpose. You're the only man I've ever been able to actually relax around. That matters." I nodded. "It does," I said. "Just maybe keep the vanilla jokes in-house next time." She kissed my knuckles. "Deal." For a while it felt like that was it. A small sting, a band-aid, move on. Then the podcast started. One morning I came downstairs to find her making coffee with AirPods in, nodding along to something. "What's that?" I asked. "Love Outside the Lines," she said, tapping her ear. "It's about ethical non-monogamy, couples who have figured out how to not make monogamy the default." "Not cheating," I said, "but also not cheating." She laughed. "It's not about cheating," she said. "It's about being honest, questioning assumptions. Just because we got married doesn't mean we have to follow some 1950s script." "I thought our script was more Netflix and tacos than 1950s, I said. She shrugged. "Things evolve," she said. "People evolve." Over the next few months, ethical non-monogamy went from a podcast she listened to while cooking to a concept she brought up in random conversations. We'd be watching a show where a character cheated and she'd say, "See, if they'd just been open about wanting other experiences, no one would have gotten hurt." We'd be out with friends, someone would mention a crush and she'd say, "Monogamy is just a social construct anyway." The first time she said it in front of me and other people, I laughed it off. The fifth time I didn't. "Do you have a point?" I asked one night in bed. "Or are you just auditioning soundbites for your future TED Talk?" She was scrolling through Instagram, half watching something on her screen. "I'm just thinking out loud," she said. "You know I like to explore ideas." "Sure," I said. "I just want to know if this is a philosophy thing or a pilot program." She rolled onto her side to look at me. "Are you feeling threatened?" she asked. "I'm feeling like I'd rather you bring me into the conversation about our marriage before you bring Jess and your podcast hosts into it," I said. She put her phone down. "Okay," she said slowly. "What do you want to know?" "Is there someone specific?" I asked. "Or is this theoretical?" Her gaze flickered away for a second. That half-second told me more than the next 10 minutes of words. "It's not about anyone specific," she said. "It's about me, about us, about wanting more connection." "More than me," I said. "Different," she said quickly. "Not more or less. I love you. I'm happy with you. You're my person. But sometimes I wonder if what we have has to look like what everyone else has." I thought about our mortgage, our routines, the way we split chores, the way we'd slid into bed the night before and fallen asleep in that comfortable tangle that only comes from years of practice. "What do you actually want, Rachel?" I asked. "No podcast language, just you." She took a deep breath. "I don't know yet," she said. Sometimes I feel like I'm in the shallow end. Like I married my best friend, which is great, but maybe there's a part of me that wants to be thrown against a wall once in a while." "Pretty sure we've done that," I said dryly. She smiled reluctantly. "You know what I mean," she said. "You're so stable, so good, you're safe." "Safe keeps the lights on," I said. "I know," she said. "I'm not ungrateful." That word, not ungrateful, never quite grateful. I let it go that night, but I started paying closer attention. She talked more about work, about a new guy in her department, Evan, who played guitar and wrote the best copy I've ever seen. She mentioned him a lot. "Evan said the funniest thing today." Evan and I stayed after the meeting to brainstorm. Evan's girlfriend is so chill, they're like open but not. Flag. One Saturday afternoon, we were making sandwiches in the kitchen when her phone lit up on the counter. "Evan, meme." She watched my eyes track the notification, then slid the phone into her pocket. "He sends stuff to the whole team," she said before I'd said anything. "That's how you know someone feels guilty. They answer questions you haven't asked yet." "Okay," I said, "cool." "You don't have to be weird about it," she added. "I wasn't," I said. "You were preemptively defending." She exhaled heavily. "This is what I mean," she said. "I can't even have friends without you getting in your head." "I didn't say you couldn't have friends," I said. "I asked if there was someone specific. You promised no. You say Evan more than you say my name lately. That's data." "You're being paranoid," she said. "It's not hot." "I'm being observant," I said. "Not the same thing." She shook her head. "We're going in circles," she said. "Forget I said anything about non-monogamy. Clearly you're not ready for that kind of conversation." Translation: you're not saying yes easily enough. We did this dance for months. She'd drop hints about open relationships and exploring. I'd ask questions, we'd argue. She'd accuse me of being closed-minded. I'd remind her that I wasn't the one hiding text threads. I wasn't opposed to the concept of non-monogamy in some abstract way. I've seen it work for a tiny percentage of people who are insanely honest and self-aware. But that's not what this was. This was about Rachel wanting permission to do what she wanted without feeling like the bad guy. The actual open marriage talk came on a Sunday night. We'd had friends over to watch football. They'd left around 8. The house was still smelling like wings and beer. I was loading the dishwasher when she came in, wiped her hands on a dish towel and said, "We need to talk." Not "can we talk," not "are you free to talk," just the royal "we need to." I shut the dishwasher. "Okay," I said, "about." She sat at the table, fingers laced, serious dog posture. I came and sat across from her. "I've been doing a lot of thinking," she said. "Always a dangerous sentence," I said lightly. "I'm serious, Mark," she said. "I know," I said. "I'm listening." She took a breath. "I love you," she said. "You know that, right?" "That's usually how people start breakups," I said. "But go on." She frowned. "You're not making this easier." "Not my job to make it easy," I said. "Say what you came to say." She looked me straight in the eye. "I want to open our marriage," she said. "I'm bored. I feel like I'm stagnating. I want experiences. I want to feel things I haven't felt in a long time." There it was, no podcast buffer, no theory. "I see," I said. "That's it?" she asked, thrown. "You're not going to blow up, tell me I'm crazy." "I didn't say how I feel yet," I said. "I'm just acknowledging I heard you." She exhaled, relief flashing across her face. She de-scripted this conversation in her head with my lines already written. I wasn't following the script. "Okay," she said. "Well, I've been reading a lot about this. People in our situation, long-term, stable marriages, can really benefit from opening things up. It takes the pressure off us being everything to each other. It lets us explore parts of ourselves we've had to suppress. We can set rules, be really clear, make it ethical." "You've said ethical 3 times," I said. "You know that doesn't automatically make it so right." "I'm trying to do this the right way," she said. "I'm coming to you first. I'm not sneaking around. I'm being honest. That should count for something." "It does," I said. "Honesty is good. The timing's interesting, though. Does Evan know you're being this honest?" She flinched just slightly. "This isn't about Evan," she said. "Sure," I said. "You just happened to get bored right after you started spending every lunch with your charismatic coworker." "You're being petty," she said. "Yes, I have a crush. That happens. It doesn't mean anything. It just made me realize how much of myself I've put on ice for us." "For us," I repeated, "or for the mortgage?" She ignored that. "Look," she said, "I'm not saying I don't love you. I do, deeply. I want to grow old with you. I just don't want to look back and realize I denied myself whole chapters of my life because we were scared." "Scared of what?" I asked. "Scared of jealousy, of what people think, of not fitting into some box our parents drew," she said. "We're not them. We get to write our own rules." I studied her. She really believed this framing, that this was about courage and authenticity and modern love, not about her being infatuated with a man who played guitar and wore bracelets. "What happens if I say no?" I asked. She bit her lip. Then I guess I have to choose between losing myself and losing you, she said, and I don't want to have to make that choice. There's a third option, I said. You could do your own internal work and figure out why you need new people to feel alive. She rolled her eyes. You sound like my therapist, she said. Smart woman, I said. Mark, she said, leaning forward. I'm trying to be brave here, to include you, to not do what everyone else does and just cheat. I'm giving you a chance to be part of this with me, to explore together. She looked almost hopeful, like I was about to hand her a hall pass and a standing ovation. Most guys in my position, I think, would have grabbed onto her last sentence like a lifeline. Please don't do this, we can fix it, we'll go to therapy, I'll spice things up. Begging. There was a time when I might have done exactly that. But something had been shifting in me slowly over the last year. Every vanilla joke, every correction, every time she talked about other men like they were upgrades, I'd been doing my own math. And somewhere along the line, without a big scene, I'd stopped being afraid of losing her. Okay, I said. She blinked. Okay, what? Okay, I repeated. We can open it. Her mouth actually dropped a little. Wait, she said. Really? Really, I said. I thought I was prepared to fight, she said, laughing nervously. I had bullet points. I'm sure you did, I said. But if you've already mentally advertised the position, I'm not going to waste both our time by pretending we still have an exclusive contract. She frowned. That's a weird way to put it, she said. It's an accurate way, I said. You're half out the door. You want to keep the house key while you wander. I can either chain myself to the frame or open it with you. So you're in, she pressed. I'm in on one condition, I said. We treat this like the structural change it is. We're not just tweaking the sex life. We're rearranging the whole floor plan. She sat back cautious. What does that mean? It means rules, I said. You like rules. You read about them in your podcasts. Agreements, she said. We don't say rules. It's not parenting. Agreements, I corrected. Fine, here's mine. I held up a finger. 1. Full honesty. No secret phones, no secret names, no lies. If you're going to be with someone else, I know when, I know who, I know where. Same for me. She nodded, eyes bright. Yes, totally, radical transparency, that's what they call it. 2, I said, holding up another finger. No one comes into this house. Ever. Our bedroom is off limits. You don't bring me STDs or drama in the form of someone who thinks they can replace me. If you want to hook up, do it in their space or in a neutral one. Got it, she said. No bringing anyone home. 3, I said. Separate finances. Starting this month, we split the accounts. Joint for the mortgage and shared bills. Yours for your fun, mine for mine. I'm not paying for hotel rooms and cocktails for you and Evan or whoever. Her face flickered. That seems extreme, she said. We've always shared everything. You're the one who wants to share yourself, I said. I'm adjusting the budget accordingly. That's not very romantic, she said. Neither is asking your husband for permission to sleep with other people because you're bored, I said. We're past romance. We're in logistics. She looked stung, then covered it with bravado. Fine, she said. I can pay for my own dates. I know you can, I said. Which brings me to 4, time. We don't cancel on each other last minute for a hot opportunity. If we have plans, we either both agree to move them or they stand. No, sorry, Evan really needs me tonight. She winced at his name on my tongue. You're really hung up on him, she said. He's a useful example, I said. If it's not him, it'll be someone else. Might as well label the data point. She folded her arms. What about you, she asked. What are your limits? Same, I said. Honesty, no one in our bed, own money, respect for each other's time. And one more thing. What, she asked. If either of us decides we want to close this again, I said slowly, closing doesn't automatically mean we're still married. Once the door is open, I reserve the right to walk out of the house entirely." She frowned. "That's dramatic," she said. "Different sport," I said. "That's clarity. You're playing with the foundation. If it cracks, I'm not patching it with a date night. I'll demo the structure." "You're talking about divorce," she said flatly. "I'm talking about consequences," I said. "You don't get to unring this bell later and pretend it never happened." She sat back, studying me. "You're surprisingly chill about this," she said. "I thought you'd be more, I don't know, jealous, emotional." "I did my emotional work when you started calling me vanilla," I said. "Now I'm in planning mode." "You don't have to do this to prove a point," she said. "We can just forget it, close it before we even open it." "There it is," I said. "What?" she asked. "The bluff," I said. "You wanted me to say no so you could be the caged bird with the noble conflict. I wanted to grow, but my boring husband wouldn't let me. I'm not playing that role." "That's not what this is," she protested. "I'm genuinely curious about." "Great," I said, standing up. "Then be curious. The door's open." She stared up at me, something like excitement warring with something like fear in her eyes. "So we're really doing this?" she said. "We are," I said. "Just remember, doors open both ways." She grinned then, quick and sharp. "I knew you'd get it," she said. "This is going to be so good for us." For us. Interesting pronoun. I slept on the decision that night, not because I was unsure, but because I wanted to see if I woke up with panic. I didn't. I woke up with a strange, quiet certainty. In the morning, I went to the bank. We split the checking account. I opened a new one in my name, had my paycheck rerouted there, left enough in joint to cover the next couple of months of bills, not hiding anything, just reallocating. I started a spreadsheet titled Exit Plan. Columns, accounts, assets, liabilities, steps. Not because I decided to leave yet, but because my brain likes having emergency exits marked. I also booked a session with a therapist, not a couples counselor, just someone for me. Her name was Dr. Lee, mid-50s, calm as a quiet lake. "So," she said after I laid it out, "your wife wants to open the marriage. You said yes. You're not sure if you actually want to use that opening." "I'm pretty sure it's over," I said. "I just want to move through it with my eyes open instead of being dragged." "What makes you think it's over?" she asked. "She told me she's bored in a life we built together," I said. "And instead of saying, 'let's work on it,' her solution was, 'can I sleep with my coworker?' That's not a minor misalignment. That's a fundamental difference in values." "Do you want to stay?" she asked. "I don't want to stay with this version of her," I said. "The one who thinks I'm training wheels. Maybe there's another version that could come back. I'm not betting on it." "Then what's your plan?" she asked. "Let her go first," I said. "She's clearly itching to try. She probably thinks this is a one-way ticket. Meanwhile, I get my ducks in a row. If the experiment blows up, I have options that aren't just begging her to come home." "You're talking about dating," she said. "I'm talking about remembering I'm not an unlovable lump she's putting up with," I said. "I've spent years being the safe guy, the stable one. I want to remind myself that there are people who might actually see that as attractive instead of a diagnosis." She smiled slightly. "Sounds like you're less vanilla than she thinks," she said. "Vanilla's still a flavor," I said. "Some people like it without toppings." Over the next few weeks, Rachel was giddy. There's no other word for it. She threw herself into research, Reddit threads, more podcasts, books with bright covers and words like polysecure and ethical slut. She went to a meetup that advertised itself as a consent-forward community gathering. She came home from that one buzzing. "There are so many people doing this," she said, toeing off her boots. "Lawyers, doctors, artists. It's not just weirdos on the internet. I talked to this one couple who have been open for 10 years. They said it saved their marriage." "Did they mention how many couples tried and burned everything down?" I asked. You're so negative, she said. Why focus on failure rates? Because I work with systems, I said. If 90% of a certain deployment strategy bricks servers, I want to know that before I hit push. She rolled her eyes. People aren't servers, she said. Some of them are more glitchy, I said. She swatted my arm lightly. You're not allowed to make jokes if you're going to be cynical, she said. Pick a lane. I'm not being cynical, I said. I'm observing. Observation 1, you're very excited about this new chapter. Observation 2, you're surprised I'm not spiraling. That tells me you thought opening up would give you more leverage, not level the field. You really think in spreadsheets, don't you? She said. Somebody has to, I said. She waited for me to ask about her progress. When I didn't, she volunteered it. I told Evan, she said one night, casual tone too casual. You know about us. Us as in you and me, or us as in you and him? I asked. She made a face. Don't be like that, she said. I told him we were opening. He was impressed. He said most people aren't that evolved. Evolved is one word, I said. Curious which others he used. He said he admired our communication, she said. That he wished more people were honest about their needs. He thinks monogamy can be beautiful but also limiting. Sounds like a man who wants to keep his options open, I said. You're impossible, she said, but she was smiling. Anyway, he asked a lot of questions. It was good. Did he ask if you were planning on applying your new evolution to him specifically? I asked. Her cheeks colored slightly. We didn't get that far, she said. Yet, I said. She bit her lip and didn't answer. While she was busy fantasizing about her enlightened future with Evan, I quietly got my own life sharper. I dialed my workouts up a notch, not because I thought I needed to compete, but because I wanted to feel strong in my own skin. I cleaned up my diet, cut back on the beers I didn't really want, slept better. My friends noticed. You look dangerous, my buddy Nate said at the gym one morning, eyeing me as I racked the bar. Birthday coming up, I said, trying to hit a number. He snorted. Yeah, okay, Mr. Divorce Glow. I paused. What? He shrugged. I've known you 15 years, he said. Something up at home. I debated, deflecting. Then I thought about Rachel's new radical honesty and laughed once. She asked for an open marriage, I said. His eyes widened. Like for real, he asked. Not just let's watch porn together. For real, I said. Podcasts, books, the whole thing. And you, he prompted. I said yes, I said. He stared at me. You've lost your mind, he said. Maybe, I said. Or maybe I've finally found the courage to let her show me who she really is. He whistled. Damn, he said, that's something. Look, I said, I'm not out here downloading every app and going feral. I'm just acknowledging that if she's mentally single, I might as well stop pretending I'm not. You're a better man than me, he said. I just leave. I'm on my way, I said, just taking the scenic route. He nodded slowly. Well, he said, for what it's worth, any woman who treats you like you're lucky to have her is blind. You're a catch, my dude. Tell my wife, I said. He clapped me on the shoulder. Nah, he said, let someone else figure it out. Rachel's experiment hit its first speed bump about a month in. I was on the couch reading when she came home from a team happy hour, looking like someone had let the air out of her. She dropped her bag a little too hard by the door and went straight to the kitchen, opened a bottle of wine, and poured a full glass. Rough night, I asked. She ignored the question. Do you think I'm attractive? She asked instead out of nowhere. Yes, I said, obviously. She took a gulp of wine. Then why does he not see it? She muttered. Evan, I guessed. She shot me a look. I didn't say that, she said. You didn't need to, I said. What happened? Nothing, she said quickly, too quickly. We just talked. About, I asked. She hesitated. About us, she said finally. About my situation. You mean your marriage, I said. You can say the word. She rolled her eyes. He asked how it was going, she said. I told him we opened up, that we were both exploring. And I said, she went on, staring into her glass, if we weren't coworkers, I'd totally take you out. Bold, I said. He laughed, she said. In that flirtatious way he does. Then he said, yeah, that would be complicated. I'm really committed to my relationship right now, but I'm flattered. I nodded slowly. So his girlfriend is chill as long as it stays content, not contact, I said. She made a face. He's so inconsistent, she said. He talks about openness and freedom all the time, but when I actually offered. You tested your theory, I said. The data disagreed. She bristled. Could you maybe not turn this into a science project, she snapped. I'm telling you I feel rejected. I hear you, I said. That sucks. Rejection always does. She looked at me over the rim of her glass. You're not happy about this, she asked. Happy? I repeated. No, I don't get joy from watching you get turned down by your crush. I'm not petty like that. You a little are, she said. Okay, maybe a tiny bit, I admitted. But mostly I'm just unsurprised. He liked the version where he got your attention without any risk. Actual accountability is less hot. She took another gulp. I thought he would at least consider it, she said. We have such a connection. Connection's cheaper when it's theoretical, I said. She slammed her glass down. You're being preachy, she said. I'm telling you I feel undesirable. I told you you're attractive, I said. He said he was flattered. That's not undesirable. That's him choosing his own boundaries. She glared. You're enjoying this, she repeated. I set my book down, looked her in the eye. Rachel, I said quietly, you asked for an open marriage so you could explore. You didn't ask because you were desperate to expand my options. You assumed I'd sit at home and clutch my pearls while you went on your little eat, pray, love tour of our city. Now the first node on your fantasy map said no, and you're mad the world isn't bending to your vision. That's not fair, she said. It's accurate, I said. Also, you're not the only one in this open marriage. She narrowed her eyes. What does that mean? It means I have profiles now too, I said. Apps, conversations. Her face changed just a fraction. Apps, she repeated, as in dating apps. Yeah, I said. Had to download them like any other peasant. No influencer hookups yet. You didn't tell me, she said. You didn't ask, I said. You said we're open, I agreed. Assumed that included me. Her jaw tightened. And have you gone out with anyone? She asked. I have a coffee date on Thursday, I said. With someone named Hannah. We've been talking for a couple of weeks. She seems cool, into climbing, reads actual books. Her fingers tightened around the stem of her glass. You start this while I was on my retreat, she asked. You mean your poly meetup? I said. Yes, around then. So while I was doing the emotional labor of opening us, she said slowly, you were just lining up replacements. I was giving myself options, I said. You're not a job, you're a person making decisions. I'm a person making decisions in response. She laughed short and sharp. Wow, she said, you're really leaning into this. You opened the door, I said. I'm walking through it too. Did you think I would just hold it for you while you went and had all the fun? She stared at me, hurt and anger fighting on her face. I thought we'd do this together, she said. That we'd compare notes, grow. We are doing it together, I said, just not in the way you storyboarded. She went quiet then, turning the stem of her glass between her fingers. Is she pretty? She asked finally. Hannah, I said. From the photos, yeah. More importantly, she writes in full sentences and asks real questions. That's a low bar, she muttered. It is, I said. Amazing how many people trip over it. She swallowed. Are you going to sleep with her? She asked. If and when we get there, it'll be because we both want to, not because I'm trying to prove a point, I said. That's more integrity than half the couples on your podcasts. This is weird, she said. I didn't think I'd feel like this. Jealous? I asked gently. She made a face. Hypocritical, she said, apparently. At least you're honest about that, I said. She finished her wine and left the room without another word. Thursday came. I went on my date. Hannah was even prettier in person. Tall, curly hair, no-nonsense eyes. We met at a climbing gym first, then grabbed tacos afterward. I'd told her I was in an open marriage. I didn't hide it. So, she said, over chips and salsa, why'd you say yes to opening instead of just saying, no thanks, I'm good and filing for divorce? Good question, I said. Short answer. I wanted to see what she'd do with freedom. Long answer. I didn't want to be the guy who kept someone in a cage and then had her blame me for all her choices. Hannah nodded. You're using it as data, she said. Pretty much, I said. I already know how I feel about monogamy. I like it. I like focus. I like knowing my person chose me and keeps choosing me. She likes options. And you're okay dating while technically married? She asked. No judgment. I just need to understand where my own lines are. I'm okay dating someone who knows the full story and isn't a secret, I said. I'm not okay sneaking around. I'm also not looking for a second wife. I'm probably on my way out, slowly, cleanly. And you don't need me to be your therapist about it, she said, half a question. Exactly, I said. You're allowed to say, this is too messy for me, by the way. She smiled. Messy is relative, she said. I've dated guys who lied about their middle name. You're refreshingly straightforward. We talked for 3 hours, about everything but Rachel mostly, books, climbing routes, family stuff. At one point she said, you know you're not boring, right? I laughed. My wife would disagree, I said. Sounds like your wife got addicted to stimulation, she said. That's different. At the end of the night, she walked me to my car. This felt normal, she said, almost surprised, given the context. Same, I said. Can I see you again? Yes, she said, but with one caveat. What's that? I asked. If at any point you decide to stay married and keep things open, I'm out, she said. I'm not here to be the exciting side quest. I want to be someone's main storyline eventually. If that's not you, totally fine. Just don't string me along. Deal, I said. I want the same thing. We kissed once, soft. No fireworks, no violins, just right, like a door opening onto a room that wasn't full of smoke. When I got home, Rachel was awake on the couch, TV on mute, phone in her hand. How was it? She asked, eyes on the screen. Good, I said, hanging up my jacket. We climbed, we ate, we talked. How does she feel about this? She waved a hand between us. She knows it's temporary, I said, one way or another. She scoffed. Lucky her, she said. You asked me to be honest, I said. I'm being honest. She finally looked at me, really looked. Something in her expression had shifted. I don't like this, she said quietly. I know, I said. I thought I would be okay, she said. I thought I'd be turned on even, watching you be desired. That's what they say in the books. Compersion, feeling joy when your partner feels joy. Compersion, I repeated, cute word. I feel sick, she said, and threatened. Welcome to the feelings you asked me to sit with while you chased Evan, I said, not unkindly. Difference is, I didn't move the goalposts halfway through the game. She swallowed. I think we should close it, she blurted. This was a mistake, we're not those people. I don't like who I am right now. Interesting, I said. We're closing it because you're uncomfortable now that I'm participating, not because you realized it was unfair to ask in the first place. That's not what I said, she protested. It's what I heard, I said. She sat up straighter. So you want to keep it open, she demanded. You want to keep seeing her. I want to keep seeing what life feels like when I'm with someone who doesn't treat me like a consolation prize, I said. If that's Hannah, great. If it's someone else, fine. I just know I can't unknow what this has shown me about you." Her eyes filled. "I made a mistake," she said. "I got carried away with ideas. I let my ego run the show. I'm sorry. Can we please just put this back in the box and go back to us?" "There is no box," I said. "You ripped it open. Even if we both agree to be monogamous tomorrow, we'll still be two people who sat at this table and negotiated terms for sleeping with others. That doesn't vanish." "We can rebuild," she said, desperate now. "We can go to therapy. We can do one of those intensives. I'll delete all the podcasts. I'll block Evan. Just don't leave." I looked at her. At the woman I'd married, the woman who'd once cried happy tears when we signed the closing papers on our house because it was ours, who danced barefoot in our living room, who now was bargaining like a kid who'd been caught with her hand in the cookie jar. "I'm not angry," I said. "That's how you know I'm really done. I'm not here to punish you. I'm here to protect myself." "You're cold," she whispered. "I matched temperature," I said. "You spent a year telling me I was safe and vanilla while fantasizing about other men. You opened the door, Rachel." "I know," she said, "and I'm saying I want to close it with you together." "I walked through it," I said. "I'm not coming back." Her face crumpled. "So that's it?" she asked. "We're just over." "We're just honest," I said. "You don't actually want monogamy with me. You want me to sit still while you chase excitement, then be waiting when you're tired. That's not a marriage. That's a retirement plan." She didn't answer, just cried. Quiet, shoulder-shaking sobs. I let her, not because I enjoyed it, because those tears were part of the invoice. "I'll start looking for a place," I said after a while. "We can figure out the house, the accounts. I'll call Melissa in the morning." "Melissa," she repeated. "You already have a lawyer." "I talked to her months ago," I said. "When you started calling cheating ethical curiosity. I wanted to know what my options were if this went where I thought it was going." She wiped her nose with the back of her hand. "You didn't tell me," she said. "You didn't tell me about Evan until you wanted a permission slip," I said. "We both have secrets." "So that's it," she said again, hollow. "I blew up my marriage for what? A crush who doesn't even want me like that. A few concepts. I'm such an idiot." "You're not an idiot," I said. "You're just selfish and bored. That's a dangerous combo." "Do you love her?" she asked suddenly. "Hannah." I shook my head. "It's been 3 dates," I said. "I like her. She respects me. She's clear about what she wants. That alone is new." "Are you going to marry her?" she pushed. "I'm going to sign divorce papers first," I said. "Everything after that is open source." She almost laughed at that, almost. The next few months were what you'd expect. Lawyers, mediation, spreadsheets. We didn't have kids, thank God, just a house, 2 cars, a retirement account, and a history. We sold the house. Neither of us could afford to buy the other out comfortably, not without tying us together financially for longer than I was willing. We split the equity. She moved into a smaller condo closer to downtown, walkable to her office and her new favorite yoga studio. I rented a townhouse closer to the lake, shorter drive to my gym and the trails. Friends split in that quiet way they do. Some checked on her, some checked on me. A few tried to stay neutral. I didn't run PR. I told the truth when asked in plain, unspicy words. She wanted an open marriage, I'd say. I said yes. It showed me what I needed to know. Most people nodded, a few winced. Everyone has a version of this story now. Different names, same pattern. Hannah and I kept seeing each other, slowly, intentionally. She met me in the middle of my mess, but refused to set up camp there. "I like you," she said one night, sitting on my couch, feet tucked under her. "I can see a version of life where this becomes serious, but I need you to be fully out before I'm fully in." "Fair," I said. "I'm not bringing anyone else into a half-demolished house." By the time the divorce was finalized, the paperwork was almost an afterthought. Emotionally, we'd been done for a while. The last time I saw Rachel in person was at the signing. We sat across from each other at a long table in a conference room that smelled like coffee and printer ink. Our lawyers nodded through the documents. We initialed boxes, signed on dotted lines. When it was over, the clerk left us alone for a minute with the manila folders and the faint hum of the AC. "So," she said, looking at the stack, "that." "Yeah," I said. She studied me. "Do you ever wonder if we could have fixed it?" she asked, "if we hadn't gone there?" "I think about it," I said, "but even that thought is built on a lie. The part of you that wanted to go there was always there. It just finally said it out loud." She nodded slowly. "I'm sorry I made you feel like you weren't enough," she said. "You are." "I know," I said. "That's the part that sticks weirdly." "What do you mean?" she asked. "I spent a year thinking I was the problem," I said. "Too boring, too safe, too vanilla. Then I realized I'm exactly what someone is praying for, just not you. That shift changed everything." "Is she that someone?" Rachel asked. "Hannah." "Maybe," I said. "Too early to say. But she doesn't treat me like I'm lucky she picked me. She treats it like we're both lucky." Rachel looked down at her hands. "I hope you're happy," she said finally. "For real, even if it burns a little to say it." "I hope you figure out what you're actually looking for," I said, "without burning more people down along the way." She gave a small, sad smile. "Goodbye, Mark," she said. "Goodbye, Rachel," I said. We walked out separate doors. 6 months later, my life is simple. I wake up in a bed I picked out, in a bedroom painted the color I like, in a home where every dish in the cabinet is one I chose. I go for runs on the trail by the lake. I work, I lift, I see friends. I grill on the weekends. I water my plants badly, but I'm learning. Hannah is still in the picture. We're exclusive now, properly. She met my parents. I met her sister. We have small, ordinary fights about stupid things like whose turn it is to pick the movie, and big, necessary conversations about money, future kids. We don't use words like ethical non-monogamy. We use words like trust and consistency and boring in the best way. Sometimes, usually when she thinks I'm not paying attention, she'll look at me with this expression that's half amusement, half affection. "What?" I'll ask. "You really think you're vanilla?" she'll say, shaking her head. "You have no idea." "Enlighten me," I say. "You're the guy who tells the truth when it's inconvenient," she says. "The one who didn't blow up when his wife asked for an open marriage. You stayed calm. You set boundaries. You left with dignity. That's not boring." I shrug. "Feels pretty boring from the inside," I say. "Good," she says. "Boring is underrated." Rachel shows up occasionally in my periphery. A tagged photo at a concert. A mutual friend's story where she's laughing in the background. Once, a screenshot of something she posted. A quote about owning your mistakes and growing through what you go through. I don't stalk. I don't engage. That chapter's closed. I wish her well from a distance, the way you might wish an old coworker well when you hear they started a new company. People ask me, sometimes, if I'd ever consider an open relationship again. The answer is no. Not because I think the concept is inherently evil, but because I've seen what it looks like when one person uses openness as a way to avoid the simpler, harder conversation. "I don't want you anymore, but I'm scared to leave." Rachel didn't want an open marriage. She wanted free rein and a soft landing. She wanted to test drive other options while keeping me in the garage, tuned up, gas tank full just in case. She opened the door. I walked through it. "I'm not coming back."